This is Andy Paroff, Boxing Social, and I'm joined by Johnny Nelson, from World Cruiserweight Champion. The morning after, the night before, Anthony Joshua regained the unified World Heavyweight titles. Johnny, how are you doing?
I'm good. I really enjoyed the night. I'm really happy for Joshua and his team. I think for the state of our game, for the state of boxing, it was a must-win for him, and he handled his responsibilities like a champion. And everything happens for a reason. And I think the loss itself was probably, in hindsight, the best thing that could have happened to him, because one, he's now in the history books, being the fourth heavyweight to regain the heavyweight title in his first defence after losing it. Regain it after in a rematch, in the first rematch, and secondly because I think it will improve and make him respect his mindset in regards to being a professional fighter and a champion. And I think he was starting to slip in regards to his responsibilities of a champion. Before Ruiz won, he paid a heavy price, but fortunately he was in a position to rectify that.
Just talk to me about the fight and break it down. We obviously saw a different side to Anthony Joshua last night. Boxed a lot more comfortably, moving around the ring, stuck behind his jab, and never found himself falling for any traps. Never looked to want to really get caught in the centre of a ring with Andy Ruiz and trying to trade. Talk to me about the different style that Anthony Joshua showed us last night.
Well, you go through experiences to get wisdom. So he experienced Andy Ruiz the first time. Many people said that Andy Ruiz was his bogeyman, and there's no way he can get round what was in front of him. Ruiz fast hands. He's been boxing since the age of 6. He was. You'd look at him and think, you know what, he's short, he's strong, he's a lot more strong than what you think. He hurt Joshua with body shots in the first fight, but you've got to think about that first fight. Anthony Joshua boxed terrible in the first fight, and in boxing terrible, he still had Ruiz down, being the only heavyweight to have Ruiz down in boxing terrible. Quite clearly his mind wasn't on the job, and any fighter will tell you, when you're fighting and your opponent pulls out and you're to fight a standing, your respect, expectations, your drive, your ambition is no longer the same. It drops. You think, I've got no respect for him, I just want to get this over and done with. It's part of the game, but you had to go through something like what Anthony Joshua went through. Most of us win in that kind of fight to get the experience. I'll give you an example. Lennox Lewis, when he boxed Vitaly Klitschko, Vitaly was a stand-in. Vitaly almost beat Lennox, but Lennox had the skills and the experience to chop him up, deal with him properly. But it was a tough fight. I could go back again, and you could look at fighters like Sugar Ray Robinson losing to Randolph Turpin. It should never have happened. Again, he looked at him and thought, yeah, this is easy. But what I'm saying is, Sugar Ray Robinson lost to Randolph Turpin because he didn't have the right mindset, then came back 68 days later and beat him. So it's about mindset, and Anthony Joshua's mindset was not in the right place. So in it being not in the right place, he paid a hefty price. Unfortunately, in boxing, we have millions of bosses. It's not like working in a hotel and you drop some plates and your boss comes and cusses you out. In boxing, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's Angelo Dundee, but you'll not see everybody in the same day. So every day you meet somebody telling you how shit you were, or what you should have done and what you shouldn't have done. So it's hard, but Anthony had to learn the hard way, and you could see physically looking at him, he committed himself back to boxing again. That was the shape Anthony Joshua we knew. The 2 times when we saw Lennox Lewis lose, you see him come back in amazing shape in that fight too, because he was getting complacent. It was becoming easy for him. And Anthony Joshua, he shouldn't have lost him in the first place. I'm glad he did, because now it's made him a better fighter.
When you mention mindset, how key and how much of a boost will last night have been for Anthony Joshua to have overcome the demons of June 1st in New York moving forwards?
No, I don't think that's not the issue. I don't think that is an issue at all, because he knows when he went in the first fight, his mind wasn't there, it wasn't right. So if I was he and I'd gone in half-cocked, I'd thinking, that's my own fault. I should never have lost to this guy. He shouldn't have lost to him. So what he'd have learned from that is he needs to be more professional in his approach and his respect of the art. Whereas, as I'm going to say that, I mean, like, and he said it himself, I stopped going about doing all these media things, I was in the gym, And I don't get fighters that turn up 3 months before a fight, train, fight, and leave. I don't get it. How do they expect to keep winning and stay on top? In our gym, we lived in the gym. You had to stay there all the time. You didn't have to train like a madman. Tick over, hit the bags, skip, shadow box, spar with the youngsters. You know, you've just got the movement, you've got the little tricks that give you all that experience and wisdom from the sport. He had to do that from day one of losing this fight to Ruiz because it burnt him. And now I hope he's learnt the lesson to say, you know what, if I want to keep improving and fast track myself over people that have had years of experience on me, this is what I've got to do. And that's what he has to do.
Was you surprised at all by Andy Ruiz Jr.'s performance last night? Afterwards, in post-fight press conference, he admitted the fame kind of got to him, he'd been partying, etc., and didn't commit to it. Or...
Proper bullshit. The only difference was this, and this was another thing that I said before the fight. If I give you 50 million quid, you're not, and so you're in a position to take care of yourself, your family, your family's family, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. Lovely cars, lovely houses, lovely jewelry, all the things you've ever wanted are there at your hand and given to you. Anywhere you go, doors are open for you left, right and centre. So now your drive, your ambition, your focus and like to get this has gone because you've got it. You're not telling me that's not going to change your mindset or change your drive. I said, that's my only problem with Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz knew. He trained for that fight. Andy Ruiz knew exactly what he had to do for that fight. But Anthony Joshua stopped him. So don't knock Andy Ruiz's performance because Andy Ruiz performed well. Good fast hands for his capability of what he can do. But Anthony Joshua performed better and stopped him. So it's not, Andy Ruiz didn't do anything. So when he's saying I was partying, no, he wasn't. You know, yes, he was doing the same as Anthony Joshua was doing, opening, you know, going to all these openings and being a celeb instead of locking him off. That was his mistake. Being a world champion is not just about being a world champion, it carries responsibilities. And only very few can carry the responsibility and stay champion and defend and defend and defend. It's a responsible position to have. It's not just about, there's only 5 world champions that believe they are the best in the world. Only 5 out of all the champions that are there. And that's because they understand the responsibility of being a champion. There's not many of them around anymore. I knew my responsibility when I was a champion. I had to think and fight and train like a challenger. Stay hungry, live in the gym. And there's only very few of them that managed to do that and make boxing their life. And Anthony Joshua had to learn the hard way. So when Ruiz is saying I was partying and I thought it'd be easy and I was training myself, bullshit. Proper bullshit. Proper bullshit. He needs an excuse and he's saying let's do a third fight. There ain't going to be no third fight. He had his chance and he should have grasped it, but he just didn't take on the responsibilities that come with being champion.
I won't ask you if you'd be interested in the third fight because I think that's clear there. Moving forwards, after AJ's win last night, how would you rank the 3 leading heavyweights, AJ, Wilder and Fury? How would you rank it?
Again, it doesn't change. I'd put AJ at the bottom because he's lost out of the 3 of them. But one of the other 2 are going to lose soon in their next fight, and it depends on how the loss comes about. Wilder's the biggest puncher in the world ever. We've seen him in 2 fights losing, and that punch has taken him out. We've seen him do it many times before. So he's in the world ever, as far as I'm concerned, the biggest puncher ever. If he hits you, because we've seen him being outboxed. Technically, the best is Tyson Fury. The all-rounder that has that punch power and the boxing ability is Anthony Joshua. But is his punch power bigger than Wilder's? Is his boxing ability better than Fury's? So anybody can beat anybody. So again, you could say this man's the top, but now you can't put Anthony Joshua at the top. But you can make an argument for him because he tweaked what he had to do, and now he's experienced the loss and he's come back from it. Now they're thinking, shit. One of those 2 are thinking it's going to happen to me next. How am I going to deal with it?
Finally, Johnny, before I do let you shoot off, how much credit does Rob McCracken deserve and AJ for sticking with him?
Massive, and Anthony Joshua. Loyalty is everything in this game as far as I'm concerned. I stuck with my trainer all the way through my career. Now many people are in my ear telling me to get rid of him, and when I'd heard people saying Anthony Joshua should get rid of Rob McCracken, I thought he's a nice guy, AJ. I hope he's not fooled by people that all of a sudden know better. He respects Rob McCracken. and I'm glad he stuck by him. Ron McCracken knows Anthony Joshua, knows his capabilities, knows his inabilities. So Anthony Joshua, enough respect to him, enough respect to Rob McCracken for devising what he had to do. I'm really happy for him.
Before I do let you shoot off, I just want to get a couple of thoughts on 2 undercard fights. Starting off with Dillian Whyte, his victory over Ruiz-Joshua. After he was cleared the day before by UCAD for any wrongdoing from an adverse finding found in his test, in the drugs test, about 6 months ago after his Oscar Rivas bout. Firstly, your thoughts on that and Dillian's performance?
Dillian's performance, he took the fight 3 weeks' notice. He's been in a dark hole for the last 6 months. I think he just needs to get rid of the cobwebs. Before the fight, I thought this is a bit of a banana skin, because after all the tough battles he's had to get through, to keep winning and taking the risk, he could lose this, because this isn't an easy walk. This isn't a cobweb shaker. He had to work hard for the win. He's not happy with his performance because he's been out. But again, we all learn lessons somehow or another. In regards to them lifting the ban, good. Dillian wasn't a cheat. And someone's going to get sued, because now they've said, no, you know what, you did no wrong. Who said it in the first place? That's who he needs to find. That's who he needs to sue. Who said it in the first place? And for them to take it on board, you know, they put themselves in a serious situation, because they basically said we got it wrong.
And finally, Michael Hunter and Alexander Povetkin fought to a split decision draw. Your thoughts on that one, Johnny, and would you be interested in seeing a rematch?
They want me a rematch. Povetkin has passed his best. Povetkin came up against, you see, both fighters are weighed around the same, about the same height and everything. The reason why Michael Hunter has been so successful at heavyweight is because when a guy that's of cruiserweight build fights at heavyweight, you've got speed, you've got movement, you can bam, 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 bam. You're too busy for him, your pace is too high for him. And Michael Hunter's got away with that. Povetkin is a more Eastern European style fight where he's tough, he's strong, to try and weigh you down. And he's done it with big guys and little guys. If it was Povetkin 8 years ago, then he'd have beat Michael Hunter. He didn't draw with Michael Hunter last night. Michael Hunter beat him. Povetkin has the punching power of a solid heavyweight, but not the fluidity, the unpredictability of a Michael Hunter because of the system he's from. They won't be third fight. I feel sorry for Hunter, but I'm sure he'll go back and think, you know what, we'll live to fight another day. It wasn't a loss.
Well, Johnny Nelson, we'll leave it there. We've covered many things and most things. Appreciate your time throughout the week. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you. I'm sure I'll see you back in the UK. Have a safe flight back to London, and I'll catch up with you soon. Thanks for speaking to myself, Boxing Social.
Nice one. Bless.